So remember to just simply observe what's going on in your mind without judgment. Once you start judging it, you're back working with mind on the level of mind. You're thinking about thinking. You're thinking about what you're thinking. And if I could only think about this differently, then everything would be... That's not where we're going. Yeah, it definitely makes it worse. There are times when you can think yourself into like this peaceful place for like one moment, and you're like, I got it. And then what happens? Gone. When we pull apart the mechanism of the mind, okay, we see that there is an observer, that there is the attention, like a flashlight in a dark room where you shine it, that's what you see, and the observed. Okay? Outside you, this is easy to see. You look at a tree, I'm the observer of the tree, I'm bringing my attention to the tree, I experience the tree, take my attention away from the tree's no longer part of my experience. It's the same thing inside you. Use the same perspective. I want you to begin to realize that in the same way you're observing what's outside you, you're observing what's inside you. Same exact thing. You are the observer of the thoughts in your mind. Jordan?
But it's like, so, but then how do you improve? Like, I get it. Like, you can't judge yourself for the past, but you could say, okay, this is how I am now. This is how I want to be in a year, right? Because it's kind of like, you can't say, you know, oh, sorry, I did this. Oh, no, that was just me. I was drunk. Like, that's just what happens, you know? That's just what I do. I was observing my mind. And now, you know, it's not like my fault because that's what my mind was doing. I wasn't really conscious of it. You know, I wasn't judging myself. So.
Yeah, don't, your ego is going to want to take my words and use it to justify bad behavior.
Yeah.
You know, this is not like some nihilism. You know what I mean? This is not nothing matters. You're still responsible for your actions, okay? But even being responsible for your actions, you don't really need to judge them to be responsible for them. You know, if you got drunk and crashed your car or something, you know what I mean? You have to clean that up. But so what exactly though is your question? Can you refine your question for me?
Sure. So it's like, you know, you're saying don't judge it too harshly, just observe it and don't force yourself into thinking a different way. But if you're saying, like, let's say you catch yourself judging a situation and you're thinking, hang on a second, that's not really a proper way of handling this situation or looking at this situation. But then you should, if you consciously are aware of that at that point, and that's something that you want to improve on, how do you then go to the next step of, you can't just say, well, that's what my mind thinks. I'm conscious of what my mind's thinking, but I'm not going to improve on what my thought process is.
You know, wisdom is extraordinarily obvious. It's just a matter of getting your mind to cooperate. These things that are happening in our lives that we don't want to happen, I don't mean the things we don't control. You know, we're a matrix of karma, that is, things are interacting in those interactions of those interactions, right? So what we do control is where we want to hold our attention, right? Give me a moment because I've lost my way. Thinking and wisdom are very rarely part of each other. There is an innate wisdom that is beyond the mind. Many of the greatest, what we would call most intelligent creators, people like Albert Einstein and things like that, did their best work when they were not thinking. Many artists will tell you, that when I'm creating, when I'm in that space, I have no sense of time, and I'm not thinking, and something is flowing through me, and I blink my eyes, and 6 hours goes by. So, what you are doing, I understand what you're saying, but you are still dealing with mind on the level of mind. And what I want you to realize is that even the wanting to have the thinking improve, quote unquote, even that is observed. Who is the one that is observing that? And it's challenging because you live in a world that is rooted in thought. It's a thought world. That's the world I'm trying to pull you out of. So, yes, on a relative level, on a simple level, you would say, well, I thought about it this way, and, that was not an appropriate way to do it. I want to do it differently next time. That will be part of your everyday living. And you've already done that in your life. You know what I mean? As you've grown, as you've had more experiences, you have changed the way that you approach certain things, right? What I'm talking about is so far beyond that. It's about going beyond thought entirely. Realizing that you exist beyond thought, that the thought is not you. And so when I started with this meme, remember to always observe what's going on in your mind without judgment. It was to help you in your practice see clearly that whatever this ticker tape that's going on in your mind that just keep going and going, you just watch it. And whatever it's doing, it's doing. The moment you start judging it, you start getting sucked up into it. And you're back in the mind. The mind is a tool for you, the awareness, to use. And you will use it in ways that you just described. But can you go beyond that and realize that the mind is something that you are observing just like the tree?